Thank you very much for having me. And I've really enjoyed everybody's presence over the last 40 minutes. I think it was very enlightening for me to actually be in your guys' presence. So I thank you all for that. As we celebrate the 555th coming into the world of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, there are a few key aspects to this that I think are highlighted through our conversation today. There is something that unites us all and connects us to a deeper truth. Certain virtues like compassion, love, humility, these are virtues that, regardless of our faith, where we are in the world, these are aspects and qualities that exist. They are omnipresent. They all stem from a deeper truth within us, a truth that is undying, a truth that does not change over time, because what changes with time is eventually one time true and another time false, therefore false. So something that is true is something that whether the world remains or not, that will still remain. And yes, there are external differences that we have as well. But just like there is a beaded rosary and the beads are all separate, but there's one string that runs through all of them and ties it all together. That one truth has always been existent, even before 1469, before Guru Nanak Dev Ji came into the world. And from this day until beyond, whether this world is created and destroyed multiple times, that truth will always remain. And for a Sikh, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is not just a person that was born in 1469. They are that embodiment of truth that has taken on human form, that has manifested themselves to bring that presence into the world. So I want to share the words that Bruce and Cheryl are actually singing. And that's why I was so happy to hear those. Suni pukar datar Prabhu Guru Nanak Jag Mahe Bithaya. And I'm sure you read the translations, but what that meant was the world cried out in pain because of tyranny and hypocrisy. And as you may have heard before, that many Eastern faiths, they connect to a structure of time known as the four yugs or the four eras, going from the age of truth, Satyug, to Treta, to Dwapar, to Kaljug, and now being the time of the dark age. That's why the words Kal Taran Guru Nanak Aya. Kal meaning the dark age. In this darkness, there is a light that illuminates. And just one light that illuminates has enough power to be able to illuminate another lamp and another, and ongoing in order to bring that light into the entire world. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is different from what we might consider a saintly person from the perspective of a Sikh. Why? Because, see, a saint is born in ego. And when a saint is born in ego, a saint meditates, a saint reaches enlightenment, and their ego is dispelled. And while living in the world, they're experiencing enlightenment. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji was never in ego. They came into the world being the the form of truth from beginning to end. So that's where, when we look at Guru Nanak Dev Ji coming into the world, Suni Pukar Datar Prabhu Guru Nanak Jag Mahe Bithaya, the world cried out in pain that we cannot handle the amount of hypocrisy and tyranny existent within this world. Do you not feel the pain that this world is experiencing? Just like when we make out a call in prayer, eventually, first as children, we place our hopes in our parents, and then we place our hopes in our family members, our brothers and sisters, and then it might turn into friends, and then it might turn into our work, and then it might turn into our finances, our health. And eventually, we reach a point where in this world, we reach a point of a detachment where we say, you know what, I've placed my hopes in everything else, and I've found nothing out of that. So now, God, I turn to you. Oh, Creator, I turn to you. And that sense of detachment in that moment is where Akal Purkh, or the Creator, the timeless being, grabs our hand. Once we recognize the difference between truth and false, and that recognizing the difference between true and false is what we call spiritual wisdom. That is what we call babig. That eventually reaches or takes us to enlightenment. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji manifesting into the world, as they traveled from area to area, they went to main centers of faith where they initiated change. I'll give you a few examples. When they went and sat with the Siddhs, these were people that had been sitting at the tops and mountain peaks, trying to meditate and experience spirituality. But there was a fault that came in. What? They weren't able to let go of their ego. So they ended up taking those spiritual powers that they would accumulate, and then they would use it to show how strong that they were and how weak somebody else was. So they would use these things to get people to bow down to them. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji went towards them, and I highlight a few of these examples to show that the job of a guru is to break the ego. That's what the job of a guru is. If you break down the word guru, gu means darkness and ru means light. And in fact, the word Nanak means the one without duality. Na an ak. It means the one without duality. In fact, there are so many in-depth meanings of the word Nanak that somebody's actually written a book of 101 meanings of Nanak. And even at the end, they say that I think the meanings of this word are endless. It's like an ocean that you can merge yourself into, but you can't really comprehend. And I sometimes take this into my own experience and say, well, it's true. If I could fit the entire world into a cup or a glass, that means, or if I could take the entire ocean and fit into the glass, that means the glass must be bigger than the ocean. And it doesn't make sense that the ocean can fit into the glass or it can fit into a vessel. But what can happen instead is I can take my vessel and I can let it go and it can merge into the ocean and become one with the ocean. And then that's what the job of the guru is. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes to the Siddhs, breaks their ego. Guru Nanak Dev Ji travels to Hardwar. This is a center where many people had gone into various different types of hypocrisy, caste systems, putting people down. Guru Nanak Dev Ji broke the entire caste system. Guru Nanak Dev Ji travels towards the west. They are a person that is the one of the most traveled people by foot in history, traveling over 30,000 kilometers by foot. And I'm sure you've heard the terms of the 10 gurus before, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji being the first guru, but then there's a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth. In fact, there is no difference between them. It's like we take 10 different glasses. I just happen to have the cups here. You take 10 different glasses or 10 different cups here, and you take water from one and put it into the next, and you take the water from that and you put it into the next. The vessels might appear different, yet the essence inside of them is the exact same. So that's why there is no difference between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Gobind Singh Ji, even though externally Guru Nanak Dev Ji appeared in the form of a saint, where they were wearing detached clothing, they're wearing wooden sandals, and they're holding a staff, where they are traveling from village to village, enlightening people. But when you get to the age of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who is the fifth Guru, they are now establishing a city, a center of scholars, and they are taking the concept of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji, using 20 rupees, started a selfless, a free langar, a free kitchen to be able to serve humanity. And now that is being formalized into a citywide endeavor, a countrywide endeavor. Then we go forward to the 10th Guru, who is now creating fortresses and defending against foreign invaders and freeing women that are being kidnapped, freeing those that are being burdened by caste systems and tyranny and hypocrisy. And going from all these extents, somebody might look externally and they say, well, he looks like a king warrior, but he looks like a saint wearing wooden sandals. But see, as beings, as humans, we look towards the external very easily and we think there's a difference. But in fact, there is no difference. Just like our minds externally might think things are changing over time, but the truth does not change over time. The truth is just as relevant as it was 500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, as it will be in 1,000 years from now, because that truth doesn't change. So when we look at this world that is calling out in pain, Suni Pukar Datar Prabhu Guru Nanak Jagmahi Bathaya, that Jot Roop Har Aap Guru Nanak Kahayo, that the form of light that is omnipresent beyond birth and beyond death, as Rachel was explaining the Hukamnama, or as the Mool Mantar. And that seed is exactly what we can't experience as beings just with our own eyes. But in fact, the guru's job is the one that lifts that veil of ego from our eyes, and we get to experience that. So there's a few pillars that come out of this. Where if we're trying to reach that ultimate truth, did I need to meet Guru Nanak Dev Ji in 1469? Or can I experience that today? Can you experience that same light today? The answer is yes, because from 1469 all the way until Guru Gobind Singh Ji's physical leaving of this world in 1708, that year, that time of 239 years, can you only reach enlightenment? Can you only meet God if you were during that era? No. And I often used to think of this a lot when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I was born in the wrong time. I wish I was born then. But in fact, soon after I realized that no, what the five elements of this world that I'm connecting to and I'm trying to stick myself to, this in itself is just a mere mirage itself. And so there's something deeper than that that is connecting me. And my guru is here physically in this world. And that those experiences that Sikhs feel when they connect to Gurbani. Because how do we experience the guru today? Is through the guru's words, through the guru's teachings. So when we sing these praises, Kal Taran Guru Nanak Aya, this is a form of meditation. When we meditate on the words Waheguru, the wondrous enlightener, that is our seed mantra that we are implanting within our mind and heart. And through that recitation, we are earning the blessings of the Guru, the Creator. And as we chant that, we're not reciting me, like the entire world is teaching us, like build your mortgage, build a nice house, show off to the world. No, 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 none of that. It's telling you to break away from all of that and in fact telling you to say, nay, the one that is omnipresent inside of everybody is also the one that's within you. In fact, you, who you think you are, is just an illusion. And let's break away from that. Living then within the world with this spiritual enlightenment and the ability to live within the hukum, or what we call the command, the will of God. And is where intuitive bliss is found, where one is indifferent from pains and pleasures of the world. And I often relate this as I used to teach myself and compare and try to understand this for myself when I was younger. I looked at a tornado or a hurricane where no matter how fast the winds would go, the center of the tornado or the eye of the tornado, as they call it, is the most calmest spot. So regardless of what goes on in the world, if the truth is in me, then I am connected to that truth, whether my body ages, whatever is going on in the political world, whether I'm being faced by pain or pleasure. And this extends to that same concept, which you might externally see as different aspects within the Sikh faith. You see Sikhs that are sacrificing their body as if they're giving away a t-shirt. People are going into battle with smiles on their faces because they have recognized the external is indifferent to who what they truly are. And to be able to connect with that and then live within this world and reach enlightenment while living within the world is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji came into this world to provide us. They spread the message of the true name. There's a term called Satnam da Chakar Faraya. They spread this nectar of the true name. And that truth is not, when we say the true name, it's not a actual word. Because any word we say creator, that is a attributing word. We say the one that is compassionate, the one that is merciful. These are not the true names. These are attributes to the one that is true. So really, the true name cannot be put into words as well. It's an experience that we really connect to. It's a Tuni, it's a vibration that is omnipresent amongst all of us. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj established that not only in a spiritual sense, but manifested that into a physical kingdom and a mission for their Sikhs to carry out and spread that truth for food, freedom for all, to fight for righteousness, to get rid of tyranny, and to be able to build this safe haven within this world to attempt, give it your all, because that is what the Guru's blessings give to me as a Sikh, to say, if I am fighting for righteousness, if I'm fighting for somebody else, that is me making my Guru happy to be able to earn these blessings for my spiritual journey. And to establish that within this world is now attempting to take this path from the dark age of Kaljug into the age of truth, going back into the cycle of the four ages. So that is why this time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the Gurpurb, marks that point where really hope was given into the world. And in a dark time, if we feel in a dark time, we remember that as well. So individually, if I'm going through a difficult time, I go and connect back to these words that I sing. So I might sing these words, Bikhre dao langave mera satgur, through the difficult paths and the treacherous little alleys of life, when it gets so dark that even your feet are getting sore, then who is my guide that grabs my arm and pulls me out? That is my guru. And so I'll sing these words, and as I would when I was young, we all grew up, we go through difficult times in our life. Where do I grab onto that hope is through this Shabad, through the singing. So I would sing, Bikhde dao langave mera satguru. I would sing it all night long. As I would sing and sing and sing, eventually we would forget time. We would forget what era we are, the thoughts and everything that is affecting us externally, but taking us to a truth within us that we couldn't recognize ourselves. So it's through our mind and experience of our mind that we eventually lose ourselves in that. And that letting go of the mind, giving ourselves to the Guru, is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the manifestation of the light actually represents to us, to a practicing Sikh. So I hope we all took some inspiration out of my few words that I was able to share today. And I thank you all for this time and reminding me and inspiring me that Guru Nanak Dev Ji's words are being sung everywhere. And in fact, I'm not sure if you took any inspiration, but I definitely did, hearing all of your words and hearing you guys recite Waheguru in the name of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It just makes me realize how big and vast this creator is. And in fact, there's no difference between us. And we're all connected to that truth. And I want to share that example again, where if we have a rosary, it might appear like there's different beads, but the string that connects us, the golden string that connects us all, that is what we're trying to strive to experience within this world. And once we connect to that string, then whether the beads appear separate or not, it doesn't make a difference. So thank you so much for your time.